much. Now, last month, the Obama administration said it had taken steps to ensure that civilians in Pakistan would not be hit by unmanned drones the United States was using against the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. Well, tonight, Newsnight has new evidence that this confidence is simply wrong. I'm joined now by Defence Editor Mark Urban. Is part of this to do with the chill in relations between Pakistan and Washington?
Well, it is indeed. Of course, it's always been a secret war, if you like, conducted by the CIA in Pakistan using these unmanned aircraft. I mean, if one looks at the history of it, one can see how it's ramped up. But now there are questions in the wake of the bin Laden raid. Now, of course, the vast majority of these raids have been carried out in the so-called tribal areas on the border with Afghanistan there. And over the years, the number's gone up steadily. I mean, in the first few years of the strikes, 2004 to 7, there was just a handful. And then we see it going up. 2010, under the Obama administration, really rising. But a policy never really fully publicly articulated. 118 strikes last year, 45 so far this year. The Pakistanis said a couple of months ago that they wanted them stopped. They ordered the CIA out of an airbase in Pakistan where some of the strikes are being launched from. Now, by my reckoning, there have been a dozen since then. So have these been done, like the bin Laden raid itself, against the will of the Pakistan government? It puts the whole thing in a different legal and political complexion. We don't know that for sure, but we do know the Americans are intensely sensitive about it, and that last month, for example, John Brennan, the president's counter-terrorist advisor, tried to allay concerns. He talked about new targeting procedures, and he said that in the past year there hasn't been a single collateral death because of the exceptional proficiency, precision of the capabilities that we've been able to develop. In other words, because they've been checking much more carefully that no other people are in the compounds when they strike them. They say no one's been killed as a result in the past, well, since August last year.
So have they delivered on that ambition, that promise?
Well, this is where the new research comes in. It's been done by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, which is a non-profit organisation of journalists who dig into this kind of thing. Now, they've done some work on strikes carried out since August the 23rd, 2010, which is when there was a particular strike which caused civilian casualties and when the US says it changed its policy. Now, they say that by their reckoning, 45 people, civilians who were not militants or key figures in the leadership of Al-Qaeda or the Taliban, were killed during that period. They're looking at a further 15 incidents where they would estimate at least another 60 uninvolved people were killed, making well over 100 casualties. Now, the US has responded to the Bureau of Investigative Journalism, saying that these are wildly off, these figures. They've rejected them. But this is the response of the Bureau's Chris Woods to that.
We had feedback from the intelligence community saying categorically, even having seen our summary findings, they stand by their view that absolutely no civilians have been killed in Pakistan since August 23rd last year. Yet we have named individuals, named children, we have photographic evidence, we've sent researchers into the field in Waziristan to look at this, we followed it up through NGOs and lawyers in Pakistan, and we can't understand why they're categorically saying no civilian deaths when our evidence seems to absolutely show that.
All these claims are quite hard to back up, aren't they?
Well, no, in a sense that there is quite a lot of reporting from within the tribal areas. By coincidence, an exhibition of photographs from Waziristan opened in London, or is opening tomorrow, I should say, including results of strikes. Now, this was the 23rd of August last year that killed 6 civilians that supposedly prompted this change in targeting policy. But there are other photographs, for example, of a young boy, Naeem Ullah, who was killed in a strike 2 months after that change of targeting. So the Bureau's position on this, that conducted this journalism, is that they've researched quite deeply and sent researchers into the tribal areas, the family background of all these civilians they say were killed. It's a very sensitive matter, and I think it becomes all the more so now that relations between Pakistan and the US have become so fraught and tangled.
Very interesting, Mark. Thank you very much.